Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel, and I've got my first reaction to the new film Love Hurts. This is a 2025 release starring Ke Quan, who's fresh off of his Oscar award-winning performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once. This sounds to be like the kind of movie that he had been wanting to do something like this, and he's got it's kind of like his first leading man role. And it's produced by 87 North Productions, who is I think it's David Leitch's company, or he's at least involved heavily because all of his films are from 87 North as well. And this one definitely has certain framing elements of an 87 North production, heavily stunt choreographed. Usually a former stunt man or stunt coordinator who is behind the camera. This time it's a first-time director, Jonathan Eusebio, who has done stunt work on a lot of films. So not surprising they're going to give him the chance to actually do some directing this time around. And I will say this, the directing of this film is a little rudimentary. It's a little, you can tell watching it as a first-time director. And Eusebio does not do a great job of using the camera to tell the story. Instead, there's a lot of great action pieces. The movie looks great. The action is wonderfully choreographed. But so often the actual physicality of what's happening on screen isn't doing that much to project the story forward. And this is only an 83-minute movie, so it really kind of misses the mark in terms of what makes a movie good from a structural standpoint. Quan is great in this role. He's excellent, but I don't think he's given a lot to do. The story is something we've seen kind of before, but he has a lot of energy and charm to him, and I think he elevates the material just purely by being him in the movie. Same thing with Ariana DeBose. I think she's virtually shafted in the film to like a very one-note supporting player, which is too bad because she's been getting a lot of these kind of, I don't know, uninspired roles for someone who comes off of an Academy Award-winning turn in West Side Story. For her to be getting this kind of stuff, again, it's kind of beneath her a little bit. Now, again, I think she does the most of what she's able to with it, but it's just not a very good role to do anything with. And she was kind of given that too with Kraven the Hunter, where there's just not anything for her to do in the movie, especially when it comes to action. She doesn't have a lot of action in the film. There are a couple of set pieces she has that's usually holding a gun, and it's like, this is someone who has like dance background, who's a very physical person. And I just think she's a delight on screen, and she could have a lot of fun with that, but they don't give her too much to do here. You know, there's issues with, like, there's a lot of telling, not showing. There's a lot of inferences that the audience would have to make about the story because we're not really given enough information at times. And then sometimes you're given too much information. But I think what really works for this movie is the charm and the joy that's with the action and with the comedy. The comedy itself, I think under a lot of other people would not be as strong. But I think Ke Quan is this kind of actor who, he's just so lovable that, like, I think he could be reading stereo instructions, and I think I would just have a big smile on my face the whole time. He's a very enigmatic and charismatic person, and I think that really, like, brings it forth in the performance that's there. So I don't think this movie itself is a good movie, but I had such a blast watching it, and I enjoyed the comedy, I enjoyed the action, I was involved, and again, like, having an 83-minute runtime, I think does make it so that there's less time to focus on the things that aren't working because we're just barreling towards the end. And so I can see this being a very mixed movie for a lot of people. I was mostly mixed, but I'm leaning positive. Whereas a lot of the other critics that I know and that I've talked to have been kind of the opposite, where it's like very, very mixed to the negative, kind of area. And I can get that. If you walk out of this movie and you say that was just bare bones, nothing to do, I kind of get that. I do. But there's things in it that do work. One thing that I liked about it was how the film kind of has has multiple branching stories that are all about these different people in this background. I don't even know if I've really talked about the plot, but the plot is about Quan is playing Marvin Gable, who is a real estate agent who is actually harboring a secret life. His brother, this big crime boss, has been on the lookout for him and for this woman named Rose, played by Ariana DeBose, that Gable was supposed to have killed years ago, and he let her go. And so now they know that she's alive, and they're coming to get answers. So, but as these different characters show up, there's one of them, and I forget the actor's name, but he shows up and he's like immediately reading his own poetry. And so he's got kind of this like this singular thing that defines him across from the other characters. But at the same time, later on in the film, he actually gets a chance to have someone read his poetry and connect with it. And so he has kind of a romance going on there. You've got Marshawn Lynch playing one of the hitmen and his partner, and again, the name escapes me. I think it's Andre Erickson. They play two, like, kind of buddy henchmen, if you will. And the one guy got separated from his wife. I think Andre's character got separated from his wife, and Marshawn Lynch's character is kind of helping guide him back in. So again, you've got multiple different storylines, kind of all about love in it, and even true to like a brotherly love in some ways, because you have this distance between these two brothers separated by crime, but you also have Sean Astin's character in the film who views Marvin as a brother to him. And there's that nice little like Goonies-ness to it as well, because we know that those two had worked together in the past. It's really nice seeing them together in this movie, and I think they mine a lot of heart. So for all the things that don't work in the movie, and there are a lot of things that don't work in Love Hurts, it's unfortunate. I think this is definitely the signs of a first-time director who hasn't mastered the elements outside of the action, what they came to. And you see this all the time with first-time directors, but oftentimes they're usually actors turn directing in a lot of those cases, so that they're really great with the performances, but they might miss things in terms of like how to use the camera, how to use and like they don't have a full kind of package of a director because they haven't learned all the elements in the same way. You get the same thing with a cinematographer who turns into a director. Movie looks fantastic, but it doesn't always have all the other elements at play. Those kinds of things. You bring to the table what you bring to the table. So the stunt work is really great for Eusebio's first film. I hope that he takes the lessons from this to his next film and tries to use the camera in more of a storytelling device and kind of works around that a little bit more, because it's a little bare bones at time. But the heart is there. I thought the comedy worked pretty well. I thought the action was a lot of fun, and I thought it mostly worked. Is it a movie that I'm going to be praising at the end of the year? No. But I hope that we get to see more opportunity for Ke Huy Quan and Ariana DeBose in films where they get to really show their strengths. And I think Quan is able to show a lot of strengths in this film because he's really uplifting a lot. And DeBose has kind of been shafted to the side. So I hope she gets something else. I'd like to see her in an action movie where she's the star. But Quan does a really great job here too. And so overall, I'm throwing a lot of information in here, guys, because this is a very mixed movie. But if you're looking for something to see on Valentine's Day weekend, I think there's 3 interesting choices you could make. My number 1 is probably Companion. My number 2 would be Heart Eyes. But if you're not really interested in the rom-com horror elements that those 2 films have, and you want more of the rom-com action, Love Hurts would be a fun time too. And I think it's a nice short movie so that you can have some time to go get dinner afterwards with your beloved. Maybe get a little chance to go. I'm not going to tell you to live your life. Just go and check out good movies. So those are my thoughts on Love Hurts, the Ke Huy Quan starring film that is opening up in a couple of days. So check it out. Let me know your comments down below, what you thought about the film. And while you're down there, please make sure you like and subscribe. There are 2 free things you can do that help to support the channel immensely, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also check out goatfilmreviews.com for my many written reviews. You can check out Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Blue Sky. And you can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Plotachuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. We have new episodes of that show every single week. There's also a link in the description here for the Minnesota Film Critics Association, of which I'm a member. You can also check out other film critics' reviews of new, classic, terrific films you may have missed, or you can find more of my stuff over there too. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.